Does your life feel like a flipping coin that is sometimes helping you to get ahead in life and sometimes leaving you at the tail end of things? My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is heads or tails. I spend a lot of time thinking way too much. Shut up there. I'm working on spending more time in silence. But one of the many, many thoughts that rotates through this mind of mine that loves to analyze and evaluate and consider is the way duality is present in our realm. Now, we're starting to break that duality apart and recognize that it is much more of a spectrum than a binary, even though there is a zeros and oneness or an on-offness to this quote-unquote reality. There is a spectrum present, and I honor that and want to just point to it before I touch this piece of the heads and tails. And I think a lot when I'm at the mountain about how we have this mouth that is there to provide us nutrients. Heather's about to get into a lot of dental work this year because it's something that I wasn't raised by a dentist. You know, a lot of us are not flossing our teeth, and so Heather's doing things like doing oil pulling with sesame oil. If you don't know, it's an ancient Ayurvedic practice. Every night I take a swish of sesame oil, which is pitta inducing, activating the Agni to help break down the food you've been eating throughout the day. But swishing it around can pull all this bacteria out of the mouth, and it can help your oral health. Just medicine tip for the day. But as I'm working on my oral health, ideally, you know, you have healthy teeth, healthy mouth. And that healthy mouth is receiving nutrients from the food graces that you're eating. And then there's this in-between phase, which is the spectrum, where you are receiving the nutrients and releasing the waste that does not serve as you take in, hopefully, nutrient graces in your day. And then you have an anus that is there to get rid of that waste. And what a mess. You know what I mean? It's interesting because I can take a live living enzyme piece of food and eat it, and this is rich in life and rich in life force energy, and I can receive the nutrient graces that my body needs, and then that light, that grace, that bounty, that beauty, that harvest is going to go through my system and make a mess to get rid of what the body does not need. And all of us have both. There are a lot of ways that life is showing us both sides of the coin, the heads and the tails of it, if you will. Nature does it when I go to hike in nature in the winter, and I look at all the dead trees and I tell them how much I love them and how beautiful they are without their leaves. And I know as I look at them and I'm reminded as I gaze upon them that when I come back that following spring, they will have bloomed forth again. There are many echoes throughout the nature of nature that are pointing to the concept of rebirth after things fall fallow. And so we can recognize that, for example, if you use land to produce, you're an amazing farmer, bless all our farmers, and you produce this bounty, this harvest that we're all enjoying to feed ourselves and our families, and then winter comes and you lose the harvest, you're going to sow seeds the following spring, and the land will bloom forth bounty again. However, there is a period under which it's left fallow. And I find it interesting because I personally believe in free will choice. I believe we are choosing all day how to direct the ship. And I do not believe free will choice only exists in the physical plane. I believe free will choice exists in the spiritual plane as well. And I believe there are certain things that we chose and are wheels upon wheels of engaging in a life, the heads and the tails and the ups and the downs of what it means to live in a range of experiences that we chose and charted. I'm definitely going to have this bounty grace there. I'm going to have that fall there. This is where I'm going to feel like I'm in the doldrums and the pits. And these are the things that are going to help my evolution. I'm going to choose these crazy toxic alcoholic parents because that's going to help me to want to rise above it and, you know, get back into the mouth of it, bloom forth, you know. And then we get down here and we forget that we were using duality as a means to awaken, evolve, understand. If you experience, I've had many people say, like, you can't have a heaven without a hell, and I've always deeply disagreed with that. You can absolutely have a heaven or have bliss or have bounty or have harvest or have unconditional love and constant agape and peace without having something that is more powerful than all that and trying to destroy it. You can absolutely have that. It's just that you wouldn't have all these labels and names to give it. Without the dualism, you're not going to see the beauty of what is present in the heavenly concept of whatever it is we're talking about here. I once had my dear friend Lisa teach me an art class, and she was saying, like, Heather, it is the light and the shadow that allows us to see. Literally, I am able to produce paintings because of the light and the shadow that is present in this painting. It is about, if the room was full of light, I wouldn't even be able to see the canvas. It would all just be light. If the room was inky black, I wouldn't be able to see the canvas because it would be inky black. But it's because of the light and shadow that are present in the room that I can see Heather feather the canvas, the paints, and produce the painting. And so I need the heads and the tails in order to get into the guts of this existence. And so I find that a lot of times what can happen, because we enjoy the heads of it. Oh, give me the sweet treat. Give me something delicious to eat. Give me something to enjoy that feels like a harvest and a bounty. And we may think, I don't deal with the poop of life. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with the waste, But it is actually that period of where things fall fallow that we are given the grace of the opportunity to sow new seeds, to look again, to choose. If we only had creative component in this realm, we would run out of room to put the creation in. So things become destroyed, things decay, things rot off the bone. And from that, compost is made to give grace to the next seed that will take its place. And there can be great, I find, sometimes conscious, sometimes unconscious addiction to only wanting the mouth of experience, to only wanting the yes in the flip of the coin. I have this amazing coin I got from Sticks and Stones. I love it so much. It has a cool yes and a no on the back, And sometimes I ask yes or no questions. And many people who read the tarot or use forms of divination, which are just systems to aid one to see answers that they are feeling not clear on, it's like they don't want the no. I've had a lot of people, I don't want to do a tarot reading because it's going to tell me something negative. And I always want to say, like, oh, I'm sorry, has your life had no negative ever? And how's that helping you to never look at it or never integrate it or never do shadow integration? Like, it's possible the negative, the darkness, the anus of life, if you will, is actually there to provide a compost, a space to digest what it is that isn't a match to the grace that you wanted to be blessed with in this place. And in order to see, we need to know the shadow as well as the light. And so we came into this space, this spectrum of existence, to be given the grace of having contrast in order to create. How often do you allow your life to fall fallow? A lot of people are filling their lives with giving attention to a lover, giving attention to their family, giving attention to their job, giving attention to an overly nurturing, outward focus. There's like a component of toxic masculinity, irrespective of your genitals, that is present in which you're pushing always to be doing something. How often do you sit still? Be in silence. Allow things to fall fallow or die. Heather's in a space right now where I am literally engaging with that which comes to engage with me. And I'm not chasing love. I'm not chasing relationships. I'm not chasing friendships. I'm not chasing jobs. If you want to leave or you want to push me out, I'm eager to go. Trust. I'm eager to put the wind at your back as you go. If you want to come in, then I'm going to consider, it's kind of like for me, and inshallah, why the divine would have this constantly come towards me. So if you're coming towards me, then I'm going to remain open to that. I'm not going to push you out. But I'm not grabbing from life anymore because I'm in a space where I'm in the grace of that digestion, that in-between place in which we allow things to bloom forth and come alive, but we also allow them to die. Are you in balance with the shadow and the light? In the same way the sun and the moon have chased each other day and night. You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube. I'm Moon.